Thanks for staying with us. President Biden is shaping his advisory board on historically black colleges and universities. Since the start of his administration, Biden has increased funding to more than 100 HBCUs through his American Rescue Plan and HBCU Capital Finance Project. Now, the president is looking to long-term ways to invest in those institutions. Joining us now is someone who knows about the administration's efforts very well, the newly appointed lead to the HBCU Advisory Board, Dr. Tony Allen. He's also the president of Delaware State University. Dr. Allen, thank you so much for joining us, sir. So let's just jump right in. Briefly tell us what role the advisory board plays.
Tishani, thank you for having me. The actual advisory board and the White House initiative on HBCUs has been around since the Carter administration by executive order, and every president since has issued a similar executive order. Its responsibility is really to provide advice and counsel to the administration on the HBCU sector. So we build capacity in a substantive way. And what I'm most excited about is I know the president's priorities on HBCUs. They're aligned with the HBCU sector. So we're really hoping for a paradigmatic shift as it relates to full support for our HBCU community.
And Dr. Allen, how does it shape policy improvements in HBCUs as well?
Well, you've already seen from the president, and you talked about it in your intro, that he's been very clear about the importance of HBCUs. Just in his short 6 or 7 months with respect to his administration, he has already funded 3 times more than any other administration in history. That is from the American Rescue Plan, the HBCU Capital Debt Relief Program, and the carve-outs that were specifically for HBCUs as it relates to COVID relief. So our ability to continue to shape the administration's priorities and also influence what's happening in Congress in concert with folks like the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, United Negro College Fund, are all going to be very, very important. We feel like we have a very strong voice in the administration, both from the president, the vice president, and many HBCU grads in the administration.
All right, Dr. Allen, here's something that I know many of our viewers are most certainly concerned with. According to a recent report, HBCUs are struggling to close the endowment gap here in the country. Now, even the wealthiest institutions, in comparison to them, has just 2% of the country's wealthiest university. How is the board working to address that?
Well, when we start, the board's going to have 3 big priorities. The first is the physical infrastructure and equities between HBCUs and predominantly white institutions, which is historic and consistent. The second is creating greater opportunities for students from low resource communities to not only attend college, but to graduate college. That's going to be important as well because HBCUs, we believe, do that better than anyone. And last is the research capacity, and that goes directly to how you can build sustainable equity in the marketplace for a broad array of disciplines, all of which HBCUs have been leaders in, but would be vastly accelerated by significant investments in that regard. So when you talk about disparities in endowments and the like, what we have to do is create even more talented citizen leaders in every field of human endeavor and watch them soar, because we know that if they do that, they will contribute in substantive ways back to their alma maters.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, you've been a champion for Ignite HBCU Excellence Act. Can you briefly explain to us what that is?
Well, it's Representative Alma Adams' brainchild, along with Representative French Hill, Senator Coons, Chris Coons, and Senator Tim Scott, all of which are the HBCU caucus leaders in Congress. And really what it's set to do is focus on those physical infrastructure inequities that have plagued HBCUs for so long. So to really build up capacity, not only for our physical footprint, but for our technological footprint across the HBCU sector is going to be significant for us. They already have more than 100 co-sponsors. I think it's getting support both in the public and private sectors, and we're looking forward to successful passage here.
All right, so how can we help ensure a successful passage?
You already know, Tishani, call your congressman and senator. Tell them that you are a proud HBCU grad or an HBCU stakeholder, and give them this one factoid. 3% of all colleges and universities are HBCUs. We're still producing 20% of all Black graduates in the United States. So we are a significant return on investment and we believe the best return on investment in colleges and universities in the country.
Well, Dr. Allen, like they say, always bet on black. You know that's right.
You got it.
Now, Dr. Allen, this isn't your first rodeo with President Biden. Briefly tell us about the work you've done before with him.
Well, I am very thankful to have known him for 25 years. I was a speechwriter and special assistant in the 90s. I was fortunate enough to be the chief executive officer of the presidential inaugural this past January, which, as you know, was fraught with hurdles, but I think became one of the best presidential inaugurals in history because of the talented people who believe in the Biden administration. So I know him personally, I know his heart, and I'm very, very proud that he is putting HBCUs in the forefront of his administration in word and in deed.
Yeah. So who's that little cutie behind you who has your heart? He's adorable.
That's my 8-year-old son, Brooksy. And you'll be happy to know, Tashani, he is wearing a proud Delaware State University shirt.
All
so
right.
we hope to get him here. Sometime in 27, if I'm not mistaken.
He is the future. Dr. Allen, thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure having you, sir, and best of luck.